Hi, everybody. This is the Baseball High, the amazing, spectacular, terrific, the great one, the people's champion, your host, the Hunt. And this was boy, I tell you, um, to be so close to get no hit by the scum sucking Braves. That's about as bad as it gets. But this was it's been a very strange season, very much up and down. Now, before we get into this live stream, can you hear me? Because obviously I set up myself a little bit different than normal. Let me see. If I have the right camera on. Let's see. Oh, okay. I got my actually got a camera, which I always had. It's the first time I've used it. And being on camera, I used to do all these different drawings on with this camera, but looks pretty good. Just got to get better lighting in here, amongst many places. Here at the new baseball hut. Hello, Deron Rivera. Hello, Stony814. Um, Deron says, let's LGM. Sony 814 says hi, HUD. Oh my God, JD Martinez finally got a home run as a Met. And yes, I can hear you. Okay, good. I'm glad because I've not used this microphone, this headset in a while. Um, and I'm glad. Just let me know if you hear any like muffling or anything like that. Maybe the microphone might be a little too close to my mouth. But um, the Met offense, I tell you, is so up and down. They're getting absolutely nothing out of Jeff McNeil. You know, 238 batting average, 630 OPS, pathetic. You're not going to win like that, obviously. Um, Concerning thing was Brandon Nimmo came out of the game. Hearing that there's intercostal issue is a big problem, especially for a hitter. He said he'd probably be back tomorrow. Um, that's a bad area to get hurt because you missed so many weeks with that injury. The 6 to 8 week injury. But we'll keep our fingers crossed. If he doesn't play tomorrow, he doesn't play tomorrow. Um, I hope people like the setup. This is just a temporary setup until I can figure out what the hell what the hell I'm doing with this. But I'm gonna have to do video. I'll probably do live streams in here and live streams in my other room. But um, yeah, but Nimmo's he had that one at bat and then he walked, and that was the at bat that he walked in. He had a very awkward swing. He was grabbing at his side. Um, like I said, this offense is just pathetic. It's pathetic. It's not very good. I mean, to be honest with you, last night they scored 2 runs, and today they scored 1 run. I would mention JD Martinez is swinging the bat good. I didn't think that ball that he hit out, I guess in the seventh inning, was going out. I didn't think it was going out. I thought Pete's ball was going out earlier in the game. Um, but obviously, Lindor's been inconsistent. Pete has been he hasn't been good. Let's be honest. He's just had lousy at bats. It's just not clicking. And obviously, I think Martinez is a little behind just due to the fact that he hasn't played. Missed a whole month of spring training, 4 or 5 weeks of not swinging the bat, and now you're having a situation now he's trying to catch up. He's almost there. He had a good at bat last night. I thought that ball that he hit in the ninth inning last night was going to tie the game up, but he got out in front of that Iglesias changeup. Um, and he hits good pitching. I've said this. That's why I'm so happy the Mets signed him. Is because he hits good pitching, and he was getting good at bats against Free today. And he had that good at bat in the ninth inning. But obviously, uh, this offense is missing something. Obviously, they're probably missing another hitter, and they could probably lose Jeff McNeil. I mean, McNeil's at bats have not been very good. It's one thing if he's having good at bats and we're getting the sort of hitting the ball hard, he's getting frustrated, pissed. It seems like he doesn't get pissed anymore. You notice that? Now, I would mention this is not as bad of a situation as we had last season. I felt like there was a lot of sort of bad karma with the team last year. This team doesn't have that bad karma that I feel that they had last year. You know, this team has more fight in it. The manager's a big reason behind that. I'm very impressed with him. He doesn't let this group drag itself, and that's why they got the time running the ninth inning. And Brett Beatty, I'll tell you, he's played great defensively, which I'm very happy about. But his bat again, it's slow. It's slow. He has a tough time catching up with really. I really didn't think, even though Iglesias doesn't throw that hard, I didn't think that he was going to have a good at bat in that ninth inning because change up pitch, especially relievers, uh, they tend to eat up young hitters. Uh, Dion Rivera says the only one who was hitting the ball hard was Martinez, who I believe the Braves center fielder made two good plays on. I mean, he made a good play on the ball that looked like a home run. I didn't think it was going out. I didn't think that the plays that were being made were these kinds of highlight plays that gets you a no hitter. I didn't think that. Okay, it wasn't like that. It wasn't like no Mike Baxter laying out um, in the middle innings. Christian Stony 814 says Christian Scott had a great game again. It seems like the Mets are pulling Jacob DeGrom first two games for Scott. Not enough runs for him. Well, uh, let's hold off on. He's looked pretty good. Christian Scott has looked pretty good, but let's hold out on any kind of comparisons yet. He his pitches was not nearly as sharp in this game as it was in his first game, and he has good stuff. He throws really hard. He has a very easygoing motion. That's why he's able to sort of that ball jumps on these hitters very very quickly. So I'm not gonna say they need to do this, they need to do that. Let's see him play. I want to see a little bit more of him. I like what I see from him. He throws very hard. I mean, his ball really jumps. You know, it's a very easygoing motion to the plate, and it's a lot like Degrom still. Degrom has a very easygoing motion to the plate. Um, of course, like this video, like the live stream, like to get 10 likes before this live stream ends. Uh, but I mean, I would say, and I did not talk much about Scott's first appearance. Vincent Zincone says it's a demoralizing loss. The type that can bring a losing streak. They have to grab a win now. I don't understand. I don't know what that means. A demoralizing loss is when you have uh, you win in the ninth inning and you lose in the ninth inning. That did not happen. This is not a demoralizing loss. Hopefully they win tomorrow, but this is far from that. This team is very much an up and down situation, because the consistency isn't where it should be. Uh, and when that happens, when you don't have a team that's as good as you want it to be, it tends to be very inconsistent. And we're seeing these swings. And right now, they're sort of in this bad swing right now. Uh, and now with 2 games under 500, I would mention the Mets are 8-12 at home. I don't understand how they play so poorly at home. And I would mention this: the crowds the last 2 days at Citi Field. Can we have some energy in the ballpark? Can we not make it seem like that they're not that the Braves are in a hostile place? I mean, my goodness, the people at the ballpark wake up. You know, have some energy. There was no energy in that ballpark last night. Uh, first of all, there's no such thing as Thor. There's no such thing as demoralizing losses in May. Okay. Uh, and there was no energy in that ballpark today. Even with the game going into it wasn't. I mean, really, it's pathetic. You know, you guys got to lighten up. You got to have better energy. You can't be sitting around feeling sorry for the Mets. This is crazy. You know. You know. Demoralizing. Let me read you this. Let me read you this. Thor, where are you, Hut? Demoralizing losses when a team goes 8+ innings without a hit. Well, they didn't lose the game. They didn't lose the game. That's not a demoralizing loss. They came back. They tried to come back in that game. but they didn't. This is not a very good lineup overall. Uh, I think I said this in my regular video the last time that I felt that this core is going to get broken up. The four of them are not going to be together. Um, I think any one of them, minus Nimmo, three of the four guys that are part of this core uh, could not be with the Mets next year. And that includes Lindor. The idea that the Mets wouldn't suck this, eat the money from Lindor, I think they would do that if Stearns felt he could get something. I think he could get something for him. Uh, you know, uh, It's from Stone. He says, "I got a feeling that McNeil is gone next. Is gone next year. This year maybe. I tell you, the injuries the Mets have had to deal with in their minor league system, with Jet Williams being hurt with a sore wrist, Drew Gilbert being hurt with his hamstring, um, and Luis Angel Acuna doing nothing, has really hurt this team. Because we could be talking about these guys getting ready for the majors or getting close to being, at really in a good spot here. But and to put pressure on these veteran players, there's no pressure on these veteran players. The one middle infielder that's doing well in saying AAA is Jose Iglesias, who, if you bring him here, then what does that say about McNeil? A guy they picked up, off the scrap heap to a minor league deal, and didn't play last year in the majors. He's been a pretty good major leaguer, but so this team, you know, we're gonna have to play with the cards we have right now because of these injuries that they've sustained in their minor leagues. Uh, so it's been kind of a. Let me read you what Deron Rivera says. Mets, other than the 10-0 loss to the Dodgers, have been striking distance in most of their games. Absolutely. But this is what happens when you have a team that's just not quite good enough. Now, I would mention that I've said this before about the season. I was very concerned about this schedule because I felt that this schedule is very much it was a tough schedule they had, and they've actually played much better than what I thought they were going to play. I thought they were going to be 5 or 6 games on the 500 at this point. They played well against the Dodgers. They played well against the Braves in Atlanta. Unfortunately, Thor says I have no energy. Well, then that's then why follow the games? If you don't have the energy, Thor, I can't help you there. Uh, Yamid Medina, bring Acuna up. Seeing hitters been cold in the mind. It doesn't work like that, Yamid. And then got hot when they hit the majors. Vice versa. Okay, Yamid, name a player that's never been to the major leagues. Name one player that's never been to the major leagues that has struggled at AAA, and some team has decided, all right, it's a great idea. Let's send him up. He has not played well since the Mets made that deal for him. When the Mets got him from the Rangers for Scherzer, he has not played well for the Mets. Okay, so you're bringing up a guy that's not played well in the last 2 months, 3.5 months of playing in the minors. You don't do that. You bring up players that have never been to the major leagues that are ready and that are hitting well, that have a good streak going. That doesn't work like that. You can't name one player that has struggled to the minors and done well in the majors. Doesn't happen. Stony 14 says, did Bader have a hit in the ninth inning, Hut, or did he get a walk? I think he got a walk, and then McNeil. Let me check the box score. Bader got a hit, and McNeil got a walk, so he got a hit. Um, but this is not a very good lineup overall. They could use another hitter in this lineup. McNeil has done nothing for this group, and like I said, we can just have to wait this out a little bit. Wait till some of the younger players get healthy. We'll see what happens with this injury to Nimmo. Hopefully, it's not a long-term deal. Uh, I would mention this, and I'm not a big fan of his, and I wasn't a big fan of when they signed him. It was Jorge Lopez. I know he's pitched. He's pitched well. Vincent Sincone says, you said 40 games is the indicator of how the rest of the Mets season will be. So we'll see mediocrity around 500 ball and possibly go for the second wild card berth. Well, they stick around 500. I could see a situation where see the Mets had the best bullpen. Let me get back to Lopez. I'm getting all sidetracked. Lopez in the ninth inning, he was a mess in that ninth inning. He threw 25 pitches. He threw 12 strikes. Okay, which means he basically threw 13 balls. Uh, he has pitched well up until this point, but I do not trust him. He's the one guy in that bullpen as a veteran arm that I don't trust. Now the Mets have the best bullpen ERA in National League, which is surprising considering how many guys they've walked, how many batters they've walked. And Lopez walked 2 bats. He was over the plate in that ninth inning. Gave up that extra run, that tack on run. They could have had the winning run up at the plate in the ninth inning. But of course, Beatty flew out. And like I said earlier, a pitcher like Iglesias is going to kill a young hitter like Beatty because he doesn't throw hard. He doesn't throws nothing but changeups. But to go back to this 40-game number, uh, if you followed the Mets a long time, Ralph kind of used to talk about that all the time. That's why I always bring it up. And it's a quarter of the season. It's a quarter of the season that we have here, and it's a pretty good indication of what kind of team you're going to have. So far, the energy of this team has been pretty good in comparison to say last year. Last year, the energy of this group was so bad, and it was pissing me off that's when I started doing the rants in May. I don't feel the need to start complaining, pissing and moaning about the group right now. And this group is a little bit different. The manager has a lot more fight in him than Buck Showalter did. Buck became a big disappointment last season because of the fact that I don't know what happened to him. It doesn't matter what happened to him. But this year, this team has a little more fight. And they have a little more gumption to them, especially late in the game. They still have enough talent. That's the problem with this group. This group just doesn't have enough talent. To be honest with you, I don't know what's happened with Jeff McNeil. If he's not hitting 300, he's pretty much useless. I think Evan Roberts of WFN said that in the last week or so. He said that if he's not hitting 300, he's useless. And I think the Mets need to sort of move him around a little bit. I think maybe playing second is sort of dragging him down, his energy. Because I noticed when they put him in left field the other day, his energy was much better. Stony814 says, I got a question. You think our team is jinxed and the new uniforms we have it? Why? Who would that's silly. That's silly. It's just the luck of the draw. I don't really care if the team's not winning with the uniforms, stop wearing the uniforms. And I didn't mind those black uniforms last night. I didn't think they were that bad. I know they were all complaining, I can't read the names in the back. But if you look up, blue on black is a very good highlight, color wise. And the orange looks pretty good. So I didn't. When I first saw them, I didn't like the black, those new black jerseys. But now I thought they looked okay. Just in terms of just the uniform itself, the gray ones, they're not bad looking. They kind of have an old time feel to it. I like the helmet and the hat, but I would not wear them as much as they've been wearing them. And like I said, they've not played well at home. I cannot understand why they don't play well at home. I'm starting to think it's our fault because we're not giving them the positive energy that they need. Thorne said this: I had energy until around the seventh inning. I tried to get people around me to get energy, just couldn't. I did my best. Well, that's on you. The game's in reach. The game's not over. You cannot. You gotta like push this team. You gotta help this team, especially in your ballpark. You can't let the Braves just 2 years ago. What were they saying about City Field? when the players, and this was after the Braves series when the Mets beat them 4 out of 5, and they played well against the Dodgers. There was this big article about City Field saying that City Field was like a club. It was so loud in the ballpark you couldn't hear anything, and the road teams were complaining. Uh, so we can, we got to be more positive. That's the problem with the fan base. The fan base is so negative. It just irritates me. Yamin Medina, he had to think about this. Jose Ramirez had only 3 home runs and 533 play appearances. Look what he has done. Jacob DeGrom, 4 point. Those are anomalies, man. How many other players? You had to think. Aaron Judge, Horseface. Horseface was a #1 draft pick. Okay, you were picking random guys. Some of these guys are Hall of Fame level talent. You tell me Luis Angel Cunha's a Hall of Famer? They say he's not as good as his brother. Sorry, I disagree. That is not how. So you just basically call up everybody. Call up the whole AAA team. Why? Because they're going to play better in the majors. It doesn't work like that. Stony 14 says Arson Judge looks like Mr. Ed. Well, he looks more like Secretary is smart enough not to run into a fence, into a door. I think the Yankees lost today, didn't they? They lost to the Rays. I think they lost to the Rays today. And of course, please like this live stream. And I'm not on StreamYard at the moment. I wanted to do this directly into YouTube. It does well. I was doing the videos on my phone, and they were doing really well. I hope you like this. It's a little bit. I haven't done this. I don't think I've ever done a live stream uh, on my computer. The camera looks pretty good, I gotta say. I need better lighting though. I gotta get another light in here if I'm gonna do it in here. And in the other room that I have, I'll see how that looks. Vincent Sincone says Senga comes back and you'll see others fall in line. Friendly competition between the pitching staff will get them more wins. Everyone steps up. Exactly. That's gonna it's gonna push everybody down the line. Okay. Senga coming back is a big deal. Okay. Um, that's a big deal. Him coming back in a couple weeks. And I think Christian Scott being here. Now I would mention today, like I said, with his stuff today, he just wasn't as sharp. He just wasn't as sharp. Thor says, any word on Nimmo's injury? Yes, the word is that he thinks he'll be playing tomorrow. He said the reason he came out is he was getting concerned that it was going to get worse during the game. And it's a little chilly here today. I was doing a lot of work outside my house, breaking up a lot of boxes. And obviously, when you move, you always got these boxes are cutting up. It's freezing. It's like 11:30 in the morning. It's a little cool here today. So, but the Nimmo injury, he came out early because he just felt that I guess it wasn't feeling better. It didn't get worse, but it wasn't feeling better, and he was struggling. He was struggling, folks, with his swing. In the fourth inning, and when you're struggling like that, you can't be playing around. You can't be fooling around. You know. But of course, hit one more like. We want to get one more like to get 10 likes in this live stream. Uh, what else? Let me see what else we could talk about. Yeah, okay. Sean Reed Foley. Sean Reed Foley pitched well again. Met bullpen has been very good. Met pitching staff has been very good. The problem with the Met pitching staff, and I've said this, is they walk too many batters. They walk way too many batters, and that's got to change. Uh, and the stolen bases. Narvaez is not long for this team. Narvaez is not long for this team. If he doesn't start hitting, if he doesn't start throwing runners out, throwing runners out is the first thing he has to start doing a better job of. you know. And if that doesn't happen, um, gonna have a big problem. But yeah, Adrian Hauser he pitched in the bullpen last night. He looked pretty good last night. He has actually a pretty good record as a reliever, and he looked pretty good last night. He didn't look, as he was throwing strikes, even though he walked a couple of bats. He was throwing strikes in that night, in the innings that he pitched last night. Um, I don't think he'll be in the rotation anytime soon, which is fine. He has to get that ball down. I mean, and it doesn't seem like David Stearns is willing to give him up. So anybody thinking that the Mets are going to like DFA him, he's not going anywhere. Because Stearns said, I guess, what was it, last week, a week before, that he has a lot of faith in him. There's a lot of faith in what he can do as a pitcher. So he's not going anywhere. Stony 814 says, when is Alvarez supposed to come back? I can't wait. Sometime in June. This is a 2-month injury that he has. 2 months. So he's going to be out a while. I'm very shocked at how bad that injury was, because that's usually a 6-week injury, and the fact that they say that's an 8-week injury, it's troubling. Um, his bat's a little behind his defense, to be honest with you. Uh, he's got tremendous power, but his defense has been good. Calls the game good. The bat's a little behind, which is surprising considering the bat was his calling card in the minors. But I see a 260 hitter for him, 30 home runs for him. But just let him get healthy, and he's still very young. I'm not going to get too worked up about him. But Jeff McNeil um, is a problem, because you can't have a guy in your lineup that has no power. His defense. I would mention this before I forget. Francisco Lindor's defense has not been good. Other than that play, I tell you, that play that he made in Tampa last week was great. That was probably the best play I've ever seen a shortstop make. Thrown behind the third baseman, the physical third baseman, and throw the runner out at home. What a what a great what a great throw, and what a great play. But overall, his defense has not been very good this year. He should have won the Gold Glove last year. He was basically robbed of that. But this year, his defense has been very, very average to not so good. Uh, Thor says this on the upside, we could be the Cardinal fans. F the Cardinals. F the Cardinals. F their fans. Uh, and I know the guy passed away, but I'm just not a big fan of Whitey Herzog, because he caused a lot of problems for us Met fans after he, I guess, quit the Mets or whatever and was with the Cardinals. Especially what he did to Hojo's terrible. Uh, am I the only one that thinks that way? Won't say it. Passed away. He was 90 something years old. God bless him, but he was a jerk off. He was a jerk off. Uh, I definitely am glad not the Marlins fan or Marlin fan. Want the one Marlins fan that's out there. Uh, Thor says that McNeil made a pretty good play today on the seventh inning double play. Yeah, he's been a very good defensive player. I thought he should have gotten the Gold Glove 2 years ago to go with his batting title, but he didn't get it. You know, um, but his offense has been pathetic. You can't be hitting 230 like you said, in 270. That's not going to cut it. He has to hit 300. If he doesn't hit 300, he doesn't have enough. He doesn't have any power. Okay. Um, and where do you bat him in this lineup? You can't bat him in the middle of the lineup if he's not driving the ball. He's not doing anything. He's hitting these little. And people are saying, well, it's because they don't have the shift anymore. Bullshit. He's not spraying the ball around. Didn't he strike out in this game? He just had a terrible bat in one of the against Charlie against Freeze tonight. Yeah, he struck out. Uh, Dylan B. Vientos would have more hits than JD and DJ. Look, DJ DJ Stewart has had a few big hits, and JD Martinez has a track record. Um, if anything, Vientos should be playing third over Brett Beatty because Brady's done nothing since he came back from that little hamstring issue that he had. I mean, he's done nothing, Beatty, except for one or two hits that he's had. Nothing to write home about. Um, but this team is just a very strange group. Uh, Obviously, Stearns is evaluating the players that are holdovers, and he's trying to evaluate where this group is. And like I said in the beginning of the live stream, I said in the last video, that in all likelihood, I think that half of the Met core, which is Lindor, Nimmo, Alonso, and McNeil, I don't think they're going to be here. I think McNeil's going to be gone. I think that's a definite. His contract is not crazy. They have to get it, and I could see them moving him before. It would be a separate thing. I could see them moving him as a separate thing. Um, I could see them moving him as a separate thing that has nothing to do with any kind of playoff run. I could see them just getting rid of him. Not yet because his value is just not there, and he didn't play well. Obviously, didn't hit well last year. you know, but that's the one thing we have to look at. Thor says Beta wants to play every day. I like Beta, but he needs to hit. He's been okay. Beta's been pretty good. I think he's had some big hits. I'm not too concerned about him. You know. Um, Sony 814 says someone told me that Luis Angel Acuna is struggling this year. He's struggling really badly. His OPS is below 600, and 700 to 720 is considered average in the majors. He's not doing that, and OPS is slugging and on base percentage. So that's not a good. He's not playing well. He's not hitting well. Now since I don't have StreamYard, I don't have access. My internet sucks with my phone. I would mention. Let's see if I can get some minor league stuff on here. If you come in by for the first time, please hit the subscribe button. This is a very different channel. I'll tell you what I think about the Mets. I don't care. I'll tell you exactly what I think. Okay, let's see what we got here. So give me a bit of a wrap up on the Mets minor leagues from today. This one Mets summarized. Across the 5 levels, Mets minor league affiliates, they combined to score 38 runs. Top prospects and every team seemed to perform. Namely Luis Angel Acuna, Kevin Parada, which is good, Ryan Clifford, he's starting to pick up, and Boston Barrow, all of whom had multiple hit efforts. All right. Luis Angel Acuna, now his OPS went up. He went 3 for 6 in an 8-3 game against the Syracuse Mets played the Lehigh Valley Iron Pigs. They're terrible. Syracuse is 21-14. The Lehigh Valley Iron Pigs 12-22. But Angel Acuna went 3 for 6 with a run scored, a double, an RBI, a strikeout. But his OPS is 627, so it's picked up last few days. Let's see. Mark Vientos went 1 for 4. He's got 30 RBIs in the minors. His OPS is 902. He should be here. Led by Acuna, Trace Thompson, and Vientos, Syracuse pulled out another victory over Lehigh Valley. After falling behind by a run in the second inning, the Mets, which scratched 2 runs after Ben Gamma walk and Vientos fielder's choice. Gamma Vientos would bring in another pair of runs in the 7th inning, followed by a Trace Thompson solo homer and Acuna RBI double in the next frame. Yomer Sanchez and newly signed Mike Brazel brought in runs in the top of the ninth, walks to seal the win for the Syracuse club. This is from the pitching side. Justin Jarvis pitched 4 innings, gave up 3 runs. I don't think he's not very good. He's not a very good prospect. Yaxel Rios pitched 1 inning, no runs. Eric Orze pitched 2 innings, no runs. Grant Hardwick 1 inning, no runs. and the Daniel Nunez 1 inning, no runs. These are guys that you're going to hear more about. We've seen the Daniel Nunez and Hardwick. Hardwick's problems, he has the same problems. A lot of the Met pitchers, he walks a lot of batters. Here's Double A Brooklyn. Catcher Kevin Parada went 2 for 5, 2 runs, a home run, 3 RBIs, 2 strikeouts. His OPS is 591. I did a video on him on the Prospect Hut. The kid is striking out a lot. He's striking out a ton. Jalen Palmer went 1 for 2. Matt Ruddick, who's a prospect on the back end of the Mets list, went 1 for 4. Rylan Thomas, keep an eye on him. He could be an outfield version of Jeff McNeil. Doesn't have a lot of power, but he hits like crazy. He's hit over 300 in the minor leagues, and he's in Double A. He's a good defensive outfield. He could be we could see him maybe this year, but most likely next year. Remember, Ponies beat the Portland Sea Dogs 9-6. The starter in that game was Blade Tidwell, one of the big prospects. He did not pitch well. Went 2 innings, gave 5 runs, 10 hits, and 2 strikeouts. Daniel Juarez, he's a middle reliever. Keep an eye on him. Might see him probably next year. Pitched 3 innings. Welcome Ramos, keep an eye on him. He pitched a third of an inning. Blade Tidwell struggled in his 2 innings of work, allowing 10 hits and 5 runs. Despite giving up a ton of contact, he did not allow a walk, but only struck out 2 batters. He will need to continue to focus on the balance between dominating the strike zone and pitching for strikeouts. Okay. Here's the Brooklyn Club. Ryan Clifford went 2 for 4 with an RBI. He's got 10, 2 walks, 2 strikeouts, 774 OPS. Christopher Swirl, who just got recently promoted there, 1 for 3, a double, 2 runs batted in, and a walk. The Met, excuse me, Met pitching. Nolan McLean, we've seen little bits and pieces of him. He is a rising star in the Mets prospects because he's a two-way player. He's raked, and he's pitched really well. Be interesting to see where they have him in the rotation in Brooklyn. But his value will probably be as a reliever because he goes very hard, and he's really not a guy that nobody's quite sure where his offense is going to finish at. Is he going to be an everyday player with that? But he went 5 innings today, 2 runs, 2 earned. 4 hits, 2 walks, 5 strikeouts. Dylan B, where's your birds? They were in the other room. Usually they're in the same room, not in this room. I need some background music. Well, we'll get there. Hey, look, have you ever seen me in this big of a situation online? No. So we're having improvements. I talked about these improvements for years. I'm finally getting them. I got a camera here. Look at this. This is a great camera. You tell me about this camera was the Doug Tenapple. He told me to get this kind of camera and I have an arm here, believe it or not, that holds the camera. I've had this camera a long time. So there are improvements here. Just give me a little bit of time. And I don't really care for StreamYard, to be honest with you. This is pretty good. When you do this within YouTube, it's much better. Only thing is I can't have guests doing this. That's the only thing. St. Lucie Mets beat the Bradenton Marauders. Let's see. Boston Barrow went 2 for 5. They picked him up last year. He was a draft pick. Jeffrey Rosa, keep an eye on him. He led the Dominican Complex League last year in home runs. So keep an eye on him. He hit a home run. His OPS and just in St. Lucie, 1205, but he just started playing there. Jesus Baez, who's been raking, he's another guy that the Mets signed out of I think Venezuela from Dominican. Shortstop 1 for 5. He's got 16 RBIs. Keep an eye on him. Let's see. The pitching side, Jack Weninger. He was a guy the Mets picked up last year. In the draft, he went 6 innings, gave 6 runs, 5 hits, 3 walks, 10 strikeouts, 2 homers allowed, 59 of 88 pitches for strikes. The Florida Complex League Mets. Let's take a quick peek at them. They beat the Florida Complex League Cardinals 8-5. Jeremy Rodriguez went 1 for 4. They have him playing third. Simon Juan, I got another kid they picked up in as a international player, 2 for 5. Jake Zatello's third base. He's playing first in this game, but he was drafted as a third baseman. Willie Fanis. Centello went 2 for 5 with an RBI. Ding, 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 ding. Dylan B. What the $5? I have my bell in the other room. That will return as well, folks. I have a bell. Whenever you send me a super thanks or really a super chat, you will get the bell. I don't have the bell in here with me. Thank you. I really appreciate it. Whenever you send me now these like different super chats and super thanks and stuff, it goes for the improvement of the house that I have. It'll go for paint. It'll go for nails. It'll go for uh, just overall and rugs for the house, floors for the house. So whenever you send me something, it goes somewhere. It's not just sort of just going. I'll let you know that the money that you've given me and the time that you've all spent watching my videos the last 3 years has gone to this place. Okay, and I can't thank you enough because the place I was in was old, dusty, and never felt welcome there. This is a totally different situation here. Um, and hopefully you'll like the changes. I think this video a much better presentation. So it's because of you that you've really improved, and that was always the purpose of what I was doing on YouTube was to buy a house. It took me a little bit longer than I wanted it to, but I got there. So now it's about managing the house, upkeeping the house, improving this place. And when you send me these super chats, it goes a long way. And just watching the videos, of course. Uh, because what's different about this side as opposed to the other side they used to do was that this is much more popular, uh, and I get more money off the ad revenue. Amazingly enough, I did a video on Comcast last week. I couldn't believe how much money I made off it. Nobody watched it. I had like 50, 60, 70 views on it. They did a second one. Nobody watched. I didn't make any money off it, but it's just how it is. Let's get down to missing a couple of people writing to me. Thor says, crazy how well Darno plays now, especially against us. I don't understand this guy. This is a guy that's been through so many organizations. He was started with the Phillies, got traded to the Blue Jays for Roy Halladay. Then he got traded to the Mets for R.A. Dickey. He had this big reputation. He can hit, he can do this, he can do that. He was one of the most mediocre players, one of the most mediocre catchers I've seen come down the pike in a long time. Couldn't stay healthy, didn't hit the ball hard, his bat looks slow. Then he blows his elbow out. And instead of non-tendering him, stupid Brody Van Wagenen DFAs him. The first month into the 2019 season, it was. And he goes to the Dodgers. The Dodgers pick him up. They had him playing second base, this guy. They had this SOB playing second base for them. Okay. And they got rid of him within a week. Then he goes to the Rays. Okay. The guy somehow miraculously turns his career around. I don't understand that. Guys, and now he's 35 years old and he's still hitting like crazy. Really, since he got to the Rays. What changed? I don't, and I'm not wrong about too many players, okay? Now, obviously, wasn't doing channel back then, but I can understand. So I don't understand how that happened. Daniel Capskian. Listen, there's been 210 games since the Mets had a 3-game lead with 10 games to play in 2022. This is who the Mets are. The core players has to change. The not Mets aren't gonna win. Okay, you know, I don't. This has. We're in a new year, man. It's time to move on. Okay, this group has been together much longer than that. Okay, much longer than that. That's why we have David Stearns here, because he will fix this problem. I would mention people complain about that bullpen before the season. At the best ERA in Major League Baseball. Oh, not Major League Baseball, but in the National League. So that's a guy who knows how to build a bullpen. Um, the one thing about this core, there's no pitching in this core. Uh, you know, this is not the time of the Wilpons. Okay, Cohen is a very successful guy. He's figuring it out. Now they waited 3 years to get David Stearns in here. They waited a long time to get him in here. Okay, so he's a patient guy in terms of what he needs to do. They tried to win 2 years ago with the veteran pitcher. They brought in Marte, they brought in Canna, they brought in Escobar. They tried their damnedest to win. Okay. And I would mention the Braves played 800 baseball from June on. Okay. There's a lot of monkey business that goes on down in Atlanta. It's been going on there for a long time. And nobody talks about it other than me. And Evan Robbins, he mentioned it last year. I noticed that the monkey business isn't going on so much down there in Atlanta right now. They'll start kicking it into gear and saying, we realize, well, when you do all all those things that the Astros did, got to hit better pitches and stuff like that. You know, I will say this: I don't think Matt Olson is going to have the kind of career year after last year again. Hit 54 homers. How does Matt Olson hit 54 home runs when Hank Aaron never did that? Chipper Jones never did that. I would mention this again about Chipper Jones. Anybody that thinks it's great that he named his brat Shay, that's wonderful. That's disrespectful. That's a smack in the face, punch in the face from a jerk. That's disrespectful. You know. So I'm just putting that out there. I'm not a fan of his. Never was. Mudley Love says HUD has a new HUD. Yes, this great. And I got my camera. I told you I have had this camera, and it's above my computer here. I've had this camera for like 4 years, and I finally set it up because I wasn't too happy with the backgrounds. So this background is serviceable for now. But look at all this wide space. This is great, isn't it? And I'm not using StreamYard at the moment. And yeah, it's because of you, Muttley, among many people watching my videos and sending me super chats and super thanks and everything else that's helped me get this place. If I was a more popular YouTuber, I could have had a bigger place. But I had a lot more money in my pocket, I'll tell you that. But this is a time of year I would mention. People say, "Wow, your channel's struggling." Everybody's channel's struggling right now. you know, um, everybody's channel is struggling right now. Stone, and I would mention this about Stony 814. He's a great sub. What a nice guy. Very very nice guy to talk to. How about the Mets? I would not do a Discord, but a lot of the people that do write to me are very nice. Much different kind of audience than the other audience I was dealing with for many years. Otherwise, they're nuts. They're nuts. No disrespect to a lot of them, but they're fucking crazy. They are really nuts. But so the Mets now are what, they 18 and 18 and 20. Got 2 more games to get to the 40 game mark. I would hope they win tomorrow. Then they play the Phillies in a 4-game series. I was planning on going to Philadelphia this week, but because of the house and all the stuff that's going on here, I cannot go. So I was hoping to meet a rather big YouTuber down there who's a Phillies fan. Uh, and uh, but unfortunately, because of the move, it's just too much going on. Uh, I will say this: Dion Rivera has been using the baseball hut white coffee mug, and I love it. Well, thank you. Just let me know if the product is any good, because I don't even know. Because that's a site I've been using a long time, and people do like the products. They actually pretty good. I got a couple of them myself. Someone had mailed some of them to me. Thor says, "How many Mets channels are there? Do you know, Hut?" Well, we know that we got Wardy's channel. We got Mets Talk with Rob. We know that there's Locked On Mets. I mean, I don't know all of them. I know those are the bigger ones. Um, I would say I'm probably in terms of just being outside the mainstream, I'm probably like the second, or maybe the second like largest in terms of independence. I'm not part of any kind of network, and I don't stream with anybody. So I'm not part of a network. I don't stream with anybody, so it's a hard. I'll be able to do that now because I have Wi-Fi in this house now. I didn't have Wi-Fi in the other house. Now, please, of course, like this video. Let's get to 20 likes. Now, I have two other channels I would mention. the Baseball Hut 2, which I do generally just do just do general stuff. Once in a while, I do a Mets video if I thought if it's something interesting to talk about, and my Prospect Hut channel, which is really good. That's where I talk about all the Met prospects. That does surprisingly well. And then once in a while, I'll do like um, uh, I'll do like a big baseball story on there. Thor says, "I like your channel, Hut. You do a great job." Well, thank you, sir. Thank you. I think I do a pretty good job myself. you know, but even if I didn't do this, do these videos, I would still be talking about the Mets. I mean, since I'm like in a new place, I don't know anybody here. you know, and so being able to talk to you um, gets my fix in terms of talking about the Mets. Stony814 says, don't you have a football channel?" But I did. I don't do any work on it. I turned it into like an archive channel, but I tell you, football is very hard. Because who wants to talk to me? Who wants to watch my videos when you can watch channels that have been around a long time, channels that are part of networks, channels that have former players on it. You have channels that have former commentators, former broadcasters. Why would you want to watch one of my videos? Watch my channel. It did pretty good in the very beginning, and then it did do it really well in November when all that craziness with New York Giants legend Carl Banks got hung up by Spaz Licata. I noticed that the WFAN clowns, if the Mets don't win tomorrow, you're going to hear a lot of complaining this week. You're going to hear a lot of complaining, to be honest with you. I'm watching I would mention I'm watching the Rangers in Carolina. Uh, Rangers are losing right now, 3-2 in the 6 minutes to go in the second period. They were down 3-1 before. They were down 2-0 before. Now they're down 3-2. The Rangers going to win this series, I would think. Although I'm getting a little nervous though, because that clown, probably the worst individual, the dumbest guy at the fan, Joe Beningo, was all dressed in Rangers clothes yesterday during Tiki and Evan's show. because Tiki was off, and they had to bring that clown in. Uh, um, he was wearing Rangers garb, which I didn't realize he was a Rangers fan. He is the kiss of death. And the fact that he was on the air with that outfit on, he is a jinx. I've said that. Yami Medina says today they said Olsen has 8 home runs in the last 20 games against the Mets. Okay, you know, I don't know how he's playing like that. I know he hit 39 home runs a few years ago, but he's not a 50 home run kind of guy. Charles Nye says Mets don't belong on the same field as the Braves. I would mention you're a Braves fan. Why are you here? Why are you here? You know why you're here? Because you love the Mets. You're invested in the Mets. And you see a lot of yourself in them. And you love the struggle. Okay? If the Braves haven't cheated in the last 2 years, specifically in 2022, we wouldn't be having this discussion. Okay? And we know that they were cheating 2 years ago. Because nobody plays 800 baseball. The only team I can think of that played 800 baseball was the 1951 Giants, and they were cheating in that season. That's how they caught the Dodgers that year. You know. So, but Charlie, you know, you're here as a Braves fan. Why? To get your little dig in on the Met fan? I am not any other YouTuber. I will hit you harder than anybody's ever hit you. You're coming in here. I make fun of the Braves. Okay? I live for it. Okay? The Mets fans are too nice to the Braves when they come into town. Do not make them comfortable. I say this to my Met fans friends. You didn't have to do that, Stoney, but that's all right. There is nobody that'll hit a Braves fan harder than me. I'll tell you something funny. I had Tyler Redmond on my show, and he's got a pretty good Braves channel. And when I started going after the Braves and how they played 800 baseball in 2022, and they were hitting these home runs and attacking the first pitch all the time, I started questioning last year, what the hell's going on here? Follow me on Twitter. He gets so pissed. He gets so pissed at me. And this is a person that said to me, "Oh, if you need anything, let me know." Well, obviously, he didn't like that because he doesn't question anything. And I would mention the Braves media, they don't question anything that's going on with the Braves. Nothing. Okay, they take it for face value. But if you have 60 home runs that are being hit by the Braves more than the Dodgers last year, you have guys like Arcia and Albies hitting home runs like crazy. You don't ask questions why. Why are they getting that pitch? Well, it's the weather. Yeah, bullshit. I agree with you, Stoney. The Braves are the most toxic fans online. Okay. And to be honest with you, for 30 years, they didn't go to the ballpark. And you'd think some of these goobers down there in Atlanta would say, why are you building up all these ballparks? Why don't you put like a roof on the ballpark? I don't understand that. You have roofs in Texas. You have a roof in Houston. You have roofs in Miami. You have a roof in Tampa. Your football team has a roof. Okay? The weather is not bad in October, November, and December in Atlanta and in Georgia. But the Braves don't have a roof, and they've had 3 ballparks in 30 years. It's crazy. And they're all shitty looking ballparks. All of them. Fulton County was a dump. Turner Field had bad lighting. And this new ballpark looks terrible. Now, I would mention, you won't hear this from any other YouTuber. I'll tell you what I think. Okay? So, the Braves fans coming around here, you're not going to like what you're going to hear. That's just how it is. It's how I am. Because when you get pounded for how many years by one team, somebody has to say enough of this bullshit. Enough. And once you start changing that attitude, then it turns it all around. Deron Rivera, Braves fans were doing tomahawk chop at Citi Field today in the ninth inning before JDM homered, according to Wardy, who was there. I know, I saw that. It is the lamest thing, and it's lame. It's been lame for 25 years. Okay, back in the 90s, it was fine early on, but it's old. It's tired. Time to move on. Time to find something else. It's stupid, and it's not because people you find it offensive. I don't care about that. That doesn't offend me. It doesn't offend me as a as somebody. It offends me as a Mets fan. It's stupid. It's retarded. You know, it's just complete total retardation. It's what it is. You know, and there was no worse fans. They didn't show up for 30 years down there. Now all of a sudden they're showing up. Please, this is a fan base that doesn't show up for playoff games. You know, like I said, you're not going to hear this anywhere else. You won't hear us on any other channel. Okay, you know. And it's funny. I thought I was going to I was going to be nasty with the Yankee fans. The Yankee fans are very pleasant to deal with. To be honest with you, that come around when I make fun of Aaron Judge, they don't get mad. I think probably a different attitude. It's this. The hell is this? What is this? Let me read you this. This is pretty funny. I think it's funny. But in the meanwhile, please, of course, like the live stream. And, of course, if you're watching on replay, leave comments in the comments section. Let's see. Oh, yeah, I meant to mention that Paul Skeens pitched today. And he pitched 4 innings. How stupid is that? 84 pitches he threw? This is a guy who was throwing 125, 130 pitches, for LSU last year. They're just babying that guy. Muttley in Love says Christian Scott reminds me a bit of Mad Max, the way he stalks around the mound. Funny to watch. I'll tell you whose father reminds me of. He looks like he looks like Mark McGuire. He looks like Mark McGuire facially. He looks just like Mark McGuire. I couldn't believe it when I saw him last week in that game in Tampa. That he looks like Mark McGuire. He's not as big as Mark McGuire was, but he looks like Mark McGuire. Maybe they're related somehow. I don't know. Stony 814. Do you think JD Martinez will be after hitting that home run? Do you think he'll start hitting home runs for the Mets? Yeah, because he's been driving the ball, but he hasn't been. He's been out in front. He's been hitting line drives. Like I said many times, this is a guy that hits good pitching. It's not a surprise that he hit a home run against uh, Iglesias, and he had a good pitch last night to hit to finish that game out. He just got under it, and obviously he tried to tie the game up with the first swing when he was out in front on that changeup. But he crushed that ball today. He's got tremendous power at the opposite field, so he could still hit. You know, uh, but he has to be more protection for Pete. Obviously, like I said, this lineup is not a very good lineup. To be honest with you, Marte is too inconsistent at this point. Um, they need some. I mean, and we have all these stolen bases, but they're not aggressive on the base paths. It's just not a very good group. Um, you hope now with Stearns watching this team, um, that he'll be able to he's evaluating, guys that he wants to keep. Starling Marte has 1 year on his contract. I don't know the exact numbers on the contract, but I could see him probably gone. They need to get younger. We know that. That we do know, folks. This team needs to get younger. We all knew that last year that this was an old team, Uh, but hopefully, we'll get through this little stretch. And obviously, the Mets are playing the Phillies this week too. So, and the Phillies have played great, and they played great at home. Uh, but we'll see. Ding, 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 ding. See. Muttley in love. Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. Ding, ding. Thank you. I appreciate it. Muttley, you're a good guy. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it. Woo, woo, woo. So like I said, my bell's in the other room. I wasn't expecting this. Yeah, so I will. Yeah, when I said this earlier again. Whenever you send me super chat, it goes to my house. It goes to paint because this room's going to get painted. All the rooms in the house are going to get painted. Um, it adds carpeting to the floor, linoleum to the floor, laminate to the floor. Um, so and it helps me out just in general. So I thank you. And it's been a tough month with the views, and it's going to be like that for the rest of the month. So when you send me those super chats, and I do have product on the channel, so if you're interested in my products, the mugs go well. Deron Rivera, Mets seem to take fastballs and swing at curves in the dirt. All teams that are struggling do that. They all do that. Well, thank you, Muttley. Appreciate that. Hopefully the next live stream, I might have a live stream tomorrow. We'll see. So I work tomorrow. We'll see how I feel when I get home. Probably have a live stream after the game. And we'll talk about the Mets as much as I can sort of follow along. And maybe we'll have a live stream on Tuesday. Contemplating having guests on the show. I haven't really felt like asking anybody. I probably should. Would you like it if I had guests on? It's really good. You folks that watch my videos, you're the spotlight's on you. But should I have guests on? Tell me in the chat, yes or no. Yes or no. Because I could probably get a couple people on here. I think. Would you want me to have Wardy on? Would you want me to have Wardy on or this Phillies fan that I know? I think he'd come on. I think the Phillies fan would come on. Maybe I could ask him around. I could probably get a broadcaster on here. Ask my friend. I don't know if I can get this guy on. Haven't asked my friend if he can get him on here for me. But we'll have to see. But like I said, when you send me these these super chats, it's enormous help because then YouTube says, sees this going on, and says, oh, this guy, let's like let's promote this channel because they're making money. So, but who pitches tomorrow? I don't even know. It's pretty bad that I don't know. Who pitches for the Mets tomorrow? Let me see. I can find the pitching matchup for tomorrow. Pretty bad. I don't know. Let's see. Now, please hit the like button if you haven't already, and of course, most importantly, subscribe. Yeah, so I'll probably be back tomorrow. Ding, ding, ding! Wow, awesome! Make me get up and get that bell. Thank you, Stony. Thank you. Appreciate that. That's awesome. That is awesome. I'll probably do something a little different. I don't think any other channel does this. Probably play some music for you as a way of thanking you when you send me these super thanks. Thank you. I appreciate it. Wow, that's awesome. Okay. Yamid says Severino pitches tomorrow. Okay, he's pitched pretty well. I'm happy the way he's pitched, but obviously this team has to hit. This team has to hit. To be honest with you, they need to hit. Okay. That was one of my biggest concerns. I figured they would pitch better in the bullpen this year, but this team needs to hit. And that's always been my headache in life with the Mets is that they just don't hit enough. Stony says, yes, you could bring in Morty, and you're welcome. Well, thank you, sir. I appreciate it. Really, this helps me out a lot. Wow. So it's a great night. I mean, it really does help me out here. Really, just helps me out a lot. We can get like a floor in here because we had to rip up the. My family had to rip up the rugs here because the rugs were disgusting here, and uh, and I have like nothing on the floor. I got like all these different area rugs in the house, sort of, so we don't walk on the concrete, you know. And this is a fixer up of this place. So when you send me a super thanks, you send me a super chat, it goes to the house. Doesn't really go into my pocket. And eventually, when all these improvements will be done, we'll have more subscribers, and that'll go to the mortgage. Well, thank you, Stony. That's very generous of you. I appreciate it. I really, really appreciate it. Helps me out enormously. Everything. I really just watching the videos helps, and I can't thank enough. Really, everybody that sent me super chats tonight. Enormous gift. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it. Really. I'm serious. I'm being honest. I'm very sincere in my thanks. Really. I say a lot of goofy stuff here, but you make the channel work. I mean, I wouldn't be able to do any of this stuff uh, if it wasn't for you watching and liking the things that I do here. Uh, so I thank you. Dion Rivera says Mets should steal more bases, put pressure on the teams. True. Um, Marte's got to get on base more. It's tough when you have a leadoff hitter, and this is only a critique of Brandon Nimmo. It's tough to have a leadoff hitter that doesn't steal bases because then it doesn't put pressure on the other team right away. And everybody knows he's not going to steal. So when you have somebody like Brandon that doesn't steal bases and he doesn't feel confident in doing so, it makes it very difficult to put pressure on the other team. That's another thing the Braves have going for them is that they steal bases. Their leadoff hitter steals bases, obviously. He stole over 70 bases last year. And when you have a guy that leads off like that and he hits home runs, he's putting pressure on you right away. That's a big part of the Mets game that just isn't there. So you see how important it is that some of these Mets minor leaguers, in particular Cunha and Williams, perform. Now Williams is hurt, I said. Uh, Stoney says, "What time is the Mets game on Mother's Day tomorrow?" I think 1:40. Usually 1:40 on Sundays. Uh, but they're going to have a very unusual schedule this week. They're going to play 2 games against the Phillies at home. The Tuesday game's a 1 o'clock game, and I'll be at work. I won't be even able to watch it after that. And then they play the Phillies in Philadelphia for 2 games, and then they go to Miami. So they should do well there. Uh, what, the 1 o'clock game? Oh, tomorrow? Really? They're not tomorrow, are they? Let's take a look. They're on ESPN tomorrow. Let's see. It's pretty bad. I don't know the schedule. I used to know the schedule so well. I got so much going on here. It's tough for me to remember everything. Now, please hit the like button if you haven't already. Oh, they're on 7 o'clock tomorrow. Wow. So no live stream tomorrow. Yeah, come on. That sucks. That sucks. Oh, boy. That sucks. I wanted to be able to do a live stream after the game. That sucks. Yeah, so they play 4 games against the Phillies. 2 at home. The second game's a day game. And then they play 6:40 on Wednesday and Thursday. I was hoping to go to one of those games, I said. But unfortunately, because of the house, couldn't do it. Then they played Miami in a 3-game series in Miami. Mets should take that series. The Marlins are terrible. They played 7 o'clock on Friday, 4:10 next Saturday, um, and 1:40 next week. Then they go to Cleveland. That should be interesting because then Lindor will be there, going back there. They play 6 o'clock. It's crazy schedule. 6 o'clock, 6 o'clock, and then 1 o'clock Wednesday, 22nd. Then they come home. They play the Giants, in a 3-game series, and then they play the Dodgers Memorial Day weekend. I think it's Memorial Day weekend, and then they play the Diamondbacks. So the Mets actually have a long homestand coming. I think it's 10 games. You just double check. I do have the schedule on my phone somewhere. Where is it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. They have a 10-game homestand. Okay. So after this week, they go on the road. They have the 5-game homestand here. Then they go on the road for 8 games. They have an 8-game road trip to Philadelphia, Miami, and Cleveland. Cleveland's played really well. And then they come home, they play the Giants, the Dodgers, and then they play the Diamondbacks. Then they come home, then they go on the road again, and they play the Nationals. That should be interesting. And then they go to London. They play 2 games in London. Saturday Mets will be the home team, and then they'll go on the road. They'll be the road team that Sunday. Isaiah Aponte. Realistically, when do you think Wright and Reyes will get their numbers retired? Wright will get his number retired when when his kids are a little bit older. Probably when his little boy is probably like 7 or 8 years old. So probably talking about 5, 6 years from now, because he wants him to be there to enjoy it. I don't think Jose Reyes' number's getting retired. I'd be very surprised if his number got retired, because he didn't play his whole career with the Mets. You know, even though he finished his career with the Mets, he did not play his entire career here. I don't think his number's getting retired. The next number that gets retired is probably Gary Carter's number, because that's out of service, and that's a number that I'm big on the numbers. I'm very high on numbers being retired with the Mets, and in all likelihood, the next number to be retired is Gary Carter's number, and then after that is David Wright. But David Wright, first of all, Gary Carter's number should have gotten retired when he made the Baseball Hall of Fame, and the Wilpons didn't do that for whatever reason. It was a stupid reason, you know. Why they didn't do that, I don't know. But in all likelihood, Wright's number will not be the next number to retire. It'll be Gary Carter's number. Because you can't have a situation where, see, the thing about Gary's was that he had 2 great years here, but he was here 5 years. But those 2 years were so great that you have to sort of acknowledge it. And if you're gonna like put the number out of service when nobody's gonna wear it, nobody's worn it in 12 years. It's been out of service a little bit before that. They should have retired when he passed away. They had it in the outfield. Why didn't they retire it? I don't know why the Wilpons didn't do that then. And they didn't retire in 2016. But his number will be the next number. It should be the next number retired, especially after retiring, Keith's number and Doc's number and Daryl's number. The most obvious one is Gary Carter. Once his number's retired, I'll feel a little bit better about the numbers being retired and stuff. No, I don't think Jose Reyes' number's getting retired, because I don't think he didn't play his whole career here. If he played his whole career here, his number would be retired. You know. And plus, he had that problem years ago with his wife, and I don't know if the Mets want to. I don't know if they want to do that. Although he really cleaned up his act after he came back here, but I think he was very upset that he wasn't in the World Series with the Mets. I think his mind was not in the right place at the time. That was a night. It was terrible, terrible situation. I don't want to talk about it. Anyway, so I'll be back. I guess maybe I'll be back tomorrow. I don't know, because it's a night game with the Mets tomorrow. I don't know. I won't be back on Tuesday because I get home later. But maybe I should be back on Tuesday with a live stream. If I do a live stream tomorrow, maybe around 5 o'clock, maybe 5:30. I don't know. It'll be before the game. Try to get more live streams in here. We'll try to get videos out for you, shorts out for you, as much as I can. Um, Obviously, with all the channels, it's been very quiet here. So well, you should do that. Sony 14. I'll be back later tomorrow night. Gonna spend time with my mom at her house. Well, that's nice. That's nice. That's good that you do that. You only have one mother in life. When she's gone, she's gone. You know. But so I'm gonna end the live stream here. Well, thank you for coming by. Or maybe I won't have a live stream. Tomorrow's Mother's Day. That wouldn't be good. Uh, so we'll probably be back on Tuesday. Should be back on Tuesday. So hoping you like this setup. I'm pretty happy with this. I think you're all gonna be happy with this. But this is like a temporary situation. Got my door here. uh, Stony says, "Good night, Hud. You're the man. Take care." Well, thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. So again, just gotta keep an eye out for it. This was kind of been wanting to do a stream for a couple days, and I wasn't. I found the camera because every place in this house. I was able to find my camera. I was able to set that up. I'm very happy I set that up tonight. You know, and I got this. Like I said, I got this on. The camera was recommended to me before I forget. Was Doug Ten April, who used to be a comic book artist. Now he's like a political commentator. I'm not gonna get into him, but he recommended this particular camera. So ding 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 ding. Ding ding, thank you. Woo woo woo. Ding 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 ding. Thank you, D-Ron. Boy, oh boy, that's great. Again, you help with the fixing up of this place. And eventually, of course, you'll help me with the mortgage, which is the eventual thing. But really, this helps with the mortgage, it helps with the paint, helps with all the little fixing up that I have to do here. This place needs a lot of work. There's no cosmetic work. It's nothing like there's no like leaks in the house. There's no like holes in the floor. Other than me pulling up these nails up off the floor from these stupid rug. But thank you. I appreciate it. Really, really helps me out. So I want to thank you all for coming by. I hope you liked the live stream tonight. I know I did. It's a great discussion. Have a good night. We're gonna get the Braves tomorrow. If not tomorrow, we'll get the Phillies. So Mets are in good shape with the management. So thank you for watching this live stream. Have a good night, and I'll see you later.